You're listening to The Reclaimed Life, a podcast about recognizing manipulation, reclaiming your voice, and rebuilding a life that actually feels like your own. I'm Rachel Paxton, an author, ordained chaplain, and certified mental health coach. And each week, I'll explore the patterns, dynamics, and turning points that help people rediscover who they truly are. I've been thinking about something lately. For a long time, I believed peace was waiting on the other side of being understood. If I could just explain myself a little better, if I could just find the right words, if people could really see my heart, then I could finally rest. But somewhere along the way, I realized I was chasing something I could never actually control. I was chasing understanding, and I've stopped chasing it. That doesn't mean I've stopped communicating, and it doesn't mean I've stopped listening. It doesn't mean I don't value healthy conversations. It simply means I've stopped making someone else's understanding the thing I need in order to have peace. I think many of us spend an incredible amount of emotional energy trying to manage how we're perceived. We replay conversations after they're over. We think of better answers on the drive home. We rewrite messages over and over because we're trying to make sure nothing can be misunderstood. We explain ourselves before anyone even asks. We're constantly trying to make sure everyone has the right version of us. It's exhausting. And the reason it's exhausting is because it's a burden we were never meant to carry. I've realized something that sounds simple, but it changed the way I see relationships. I can communicate honestly. I can answer questions. I can clarify when clarification is needed. I can apologize when I've been wrong. But I cannot make another person understand me because every person hears me through the lens of their own story, their personality, their experiences, their wounds, their fears, their expectations. Even if I say the exact same words to 10 different people, I may end up with 10 different interpretations. That's not something I can control. Every person in your life knows only a portion of who you are. They know the chapter where they met you. They know the conversations they've had with you. They know the experiences they've shared with you. But no one sees everything. No one knows every prayer you've prayed, every fear you've wrestled with, every decision you've agonized over, every lesson God has been teaching you, every part of your story that happened before they arrived. That's not a failure. That's a simply part of being human. One day I realized something. I wasn't actually chasing understanding. I was chasing peace. I thought those two things were connected. I thought, if they just understood me, then I'd finally be okay. But what if they never do? Does that mean I never get to have peace? I don't believe that's what God wants for us. Because if my peace depends on someone else's understanding, then my peace will always be outside my control. There's only one who knows the entire story. God knows every motive, every conversation, every victory, every failure, every fear, every place where I've grown, every place where I'm still growing. He knows what no one else knows. And I've realized I was expecting people to do something only God can do. No human being can fully know another person. Only God can. I don't think this means we stop explaining ourselves. Healthy relationships need honest conversations. Sometimes clarification matters. Sometimes saying that's not what I meant brings healing. Sometimes we absolutely should have those conversations. But there's a difference between communicating honestly and believing our peace depends on the outcome. I can tell the truth. I cannot control what someone does with it. I can speak honestly. I cannot decide how another person interprets my words. Those things belong to them, not to me. At first, I thought letting go meant I didn't care anymore, but now I see it differently. Letting go isn't giving up on people. It's giving up the illusion I can manage what exists in someone else's mind. I can't. I can't rewrite every conclusion. I can't correct every assumption. I can't chase every misunderstanding. And honestly, I don't want that job anymore. I've come to believe that God never asked me to make sure everyone understood me. He asked me to be faithful, faithful to tell the truth, faithful to live with integrity, faithful to admit when I'm wrong, faithful to forgive, faithful to love people well. Whether someone understands me, I cannot control. Whether I walk faithfully before God, I can. Maybe today is the day you finally set that weight down. Communicate honestly. Own your mistakes. Clarify when it's helpful. Apologize when you've caused harm. But don't make someone else's understanding the condition for your peace, because they may never understand. Not because they don't care, not because you failed to explain, but because no one else sees another person's whole story. Only God does. He knows your heart. He knows your motives. He knows your failures. He knows your growth. He knows the whole story. And that's enough, because at the end of the day, my calling isn't to make sure everyone understands me. My calling is to walk faithfully before the God who already does. Thank you for listening to The Reclaimed Life. If something in this episode resonated with you, you're not alone. Many people are beginning to recognize unhealthy patterns in relationships, systems, and environments, and discovering that reclaiming their voice is possible. In future episodes, I'll explore topics like recognizing manipulation, understanding narcissistic dynamics, rebuilding self-trust, and learning how to create a life that actually feels like your own. If you'd like to explore more of these ideas, you can visit my website at thereclaimedlifepodcast.com, where I share additional writing, resources, and future episodes of the show. Until next time, take a moment to listen to your intuition, trust what you're beginning to see, and remember that reclaiming your life often begins with one honest question. This is The Reclaimed Life.